Okay, it is that time of week, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cowboys Overtime here on StarTelegram.com. I am Mac Hingle, Fort Worth Star Telegram columnist. He is Mr. Clarence E. Hill Jr. Clarence, you are back from Mobile, Alabama, and the Senior Bowl. What'd you do? Any good information for us? Any nuggets?
I watched practice. I watched practice. I watched T'Vondre Sweat from Texas dominate practice.
I understand he might be a second-round pick. Any chance he could go higher?
He could. He could. You know, it's funny. It's another kid on the team that's ranked higher, but from that same defensive line. But Texas should have 6, 7, 8 guys drafted this year. Which is a lot compared to a couple of years ago when they had none. None.
I know. Last week at the East-West Shrine Bowl game in Frisco, Steve Sarkisian, the Texas head coach who was being inducted into that game's Hall of Fame, talked about that evolution, how his first year they had nobody and now they might have 5, 7 guys. He did talk about, we want to talk about this briefly before we get into Cowboys stuff. Clarence, what do you think is going to happen with Jonathan Brooks? He was having a phenomenal season until he tore his ACL late in the year against TCU, coincidentally. What do you think is going to happen to him and how NFL teams evaluate whether or not they spend a pick on him or they just wait and pick him up as a rookie free agent?
I've been following all the mock drafts. And first of all, Jonathan Brooks is near and dear to my heart because he grew up in Hallettsville, Texas, which is 10, 15 miles from my hometown.
Oh, I didn't know it was that close.
Yeah, it's really close.
Okay.
So it's almost like a local kid for me. He grew up near my hometown, and so I've been following him his entire career. It's interesting because he is coming off ACL that happened late in the season, but a lot of all the draft experts have him as the number 1 or number 2 back in the draft.
We're looking like a Willis McGahee type thing. Remember when he came out of Miami, he had an ACL, still first-round pick of the Bills, and he had a long career.
So I don't know if he's a first-round running back, but I think he's going to be second or third round, just based on the mock drafts I've seen and where they have him positioned. They have him as the number 1 collectively, consistently number 1 or number 2 back in the draft, which is high praise for a guy who was mainly a 3-star coming out, wasn't a big time recruit, good recruit, dominated small school level.
Right.
They were like 2A, 3A, dominated.
No, but you've said it before. It's one thing to dominate 3A, 2A,
right,
6-man, whatever. You've got to really know you've got to be playing 5A, 6A football.
Right. And
he wasn't in that position.
No, but he came into Texas and was dominant. He was, if he doesn't get hurt, there may be a different outcome in that Washington playoff game. But he was that good. He was that important for that Texas offense, and he decided to go pro even though he had the ACL. And again, a lot of draft nicks are still high on him.
Yeah, and he wasn't going to stop Michael Penix at Washington from throwing.
No, but you can stop. You keep him off the field with a running game, Mac. You keep him off the field. You dominate. You control the ball.
Okay.
You score.
I'm going to just stop.
Don't even do that
before you further embarrass yourself.
How did Kansas do last night? How did Kansas basketball do last night?
Pretty good. The officials got in the way, but we didn't get in the middle of that.
Lost to K-State.
That was awful. I know they're not very. I'm telling you, they spent all that money on the kid from Michigan, Hunter Dickinson, and they're not that good. They're pretty good, but they ain't that good. They're going to have problems in the tournament. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys don't have a defensive coordinator. Breaking news. The Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator has been hired as the head coach of the Washington Commanders. I still hate that team. Dan Quinn is gone, and he takes Joe Witt with him. I did not see that coming. The Cowboys were set to interview Joe Witt until Joe said, yeah, I think I want to go live in the Mid-Atlantic region with my good friend Dan Quinn and work for him. So now Jerry Jones on Sunday, after the World Cup announcement, says, we're starting the interview process on Monday morning at 9 a.m., which means, according to, if you believe the internet, former Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator and Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer is being considered to come on back. Clarence, who else would they be looking at? We'll talk about Zim here in a minute, other than Mike Zimmer.
Well, the list, I think that Joe Witt Jr. was the favorite, the in-house favorite, certainly, and most likely the favorite because they wanted to continue have the consistency. You're bringing a new defense coordinator, you have to change some of your philosophies. And
Yes.
one reason why you bringing Mike back, they were hoping Dan would come back, but you're trying to keep the band together at least for one last hurrah, one last stand. This is a make or break year for Mike McCarthy, and so you don't want to make a lot of changes. You want to keep some of your stuff together. Joe Witt was on the list to be interviewed on Monday, but bird in hand beats two in the bush. You guys are making me interview. You know who I am. You know what I was. You know what I meant to Dan's off defense.
Yep.
And Dan is going to give me the job as defense coordinator. You're going to make me interview.
Bye.
And there's no guarantee I have a job beyond next year.
Absolutely.
I'm gone.
He had to leave.
He had to take that job. So Aiden Durden, the Cowboys defensive line coach, who actually interviewed in Green Bay and a couple other places for defense coordinator jobs. Mike Zimmer, we already mentioned, and Ron Rivera are the guys who are slated to be interviewed. I know Zimmer was interviewing today. Durden interviewed on Monday. So that's where we are. I mean, there's
a name in there. There's a name you have not mentioned. Why has nobody mentioned Al Harris?
I think that this is where the internet and social media does not sit with reality. Al Harris has mainly been the cornerbacks coach.
So you don't think
Joe Witt was the secondary coach. Joe Witt was the secondary coach and defensive passing game coordinator. Okay. And Al Harris was mainly the cornerbacks coach. And he's done a great job, certainly with the cornerbacks, but no one's interviewing him for the defensive coordinator job anywhere. It just got so much, it caught so much attention of people and Cowboy fans and whatever else. You look what Deron Bland is doing. We got to make Joe with the defense coordinator. Well, that's not the path right now. That's not.
No, but Clarence, I was under the impression, and you clarify this, that Al was very well thought of, and one of those. And hang on, there are certain coaches, we've seen this in the past. Certain coaches that they kind of get tapped early, like that guy's a coordinator. This guy can be a head coach, whatever. And I was kind of under the impression, reading the tea leaves, that Al Harris, even though he had been only a secondary coach, and you're right, giving a guy, a position coach, all too much credit because a guy intercepted the ball a lot, that's a little. But I was under the impression, having read about Al, certainly his experience in Green Bay, and knowing Mike, that it made sense that Mike knew this guy, liked this guy, and thought, whenever my guy leaves, Dan, that this would be it. Did I totally misread that?
Well, yeah, because Joe Witt was also with Mike in Green Bay. Okay, Joe Witt has a relationship with Mike in Green Bay as well. And Joe Witt was always above Al in the pecking order.
So that
doesn't mean that Al is not well liked. It doesn't mean Al is not well liked and well thought of.
No, I know. But the fact that because this leads my brain go down a different area about this staff, and specifically the owner and general manager of the Cowboys. Is this another example of Jerry saying, no, I'm going to help you pick this staff too? Because he did it to Jason Garrett with Marinelli and Kiffin. With Coach Kiffin. And he basically said, you're going to hire this guy. And was this a case of, okay, yeah, you're not going to just give the job to Joe Witt because he's your boy. We're going to talk to him. I'm going to vet him too. Which, if that's the case, is this an example of Jerry doing what Jerry does and slightly undercutting his head coach?
No, I don't think so. I think Mike this is Mike's last year, and I think not saying it's last year.
I know last year's deal,
right? And I think Mike was a big part of Dan Quinn coming in. Certainly, Mike fumbled when he brought Mike Nolan in, but most of the guys on the staff are guys that Mike wanted, and certainly Jerry's not going to undercut Mike in his last year. I mean, there's no commitment beyond next year. And I think Mike has a relationship with Zimmer, from the time when they coached against each other when Zimmer with the Vikings. And Mike knows these guys, but I don't think there's a situation of Jerry Millen. This is just what it is. I mean, we started with Al Harris. I just think that I mean, if Al Harris was that thought of across the league, that other people would have inquired about him being a defensive coordinator like they did Aiden Durden. I mean, Aiden Durden had 3 other teams request interviews for him to be recorded interviews. No one did. I mean, that was just a Cowboy fan thing that Al Harris should be coordinator. There's not been a.
There was never anything to it. So,
and that's
talk to me about Mike
Zimmer.
Okay, you've known Mike Zimmer for a long time. I've known Mike. I like Mike. I think Mike is a really good coach. But the one thing there is one detail specifically I remember about Mike Zimmer, when he ran the defense for the Cowboys and Bill Parcells kept him is that Mike Zimmer preferred to run a 4-3. Bill wanted a 3-4. And eventually, Bill basically said, Mike, if you're going to stay here, we're running the 3-4. And Mike did it because, Mike was a soldier. And he's like, okay, if I want a job, then I'm going to run a 3-4 here. And eventually Mike left when Wade Phillips came on to town. I think he went to Atlanta, did really well in Cincinnati as a defensive coordinator, kind of rebuilt his reputation. Goes to the Vikings. They do okay. They have a couple good seasons, eventually gets fired. But Clarence, if he comes in here, do you think he wants to run the 4-3? And do they have the personnel to do that without going through some massive transition that we normally see from one coach or coordinator to the next?
Well, first of all, what defense did they run here this year?
Nickel.
I mean, it's a multiple defense. They basically ran a 4-3 basic defense here. I think that,
Oh, wait a minute. Am I wrong? Because, you ask a legit question, and I'm anytime I look down there, I saw 50 defensive backs on the field.
Yeah, but you're really talking about the down lineman. You're not talking about the all the other stuff. I mean, he's going to run a 4-man. They ran a 4-man front, and they will do a 4-man front. Obviously, whether they run 3 linebackers or have it in the nickel package, that's up to the day. They know they need to get better at linebacker, no matter who's the coach. Even if they brought Dan Quinn back, they're going to add more linebackers to the mix, and that would be a big part of it. But the thing about Zimmer is a successful coordinator. He's been a successful coordinator. He's a hard-nosed coach. He can hold people accountable. He's not Dan Quinn. They do different things, but they can do much worse than Mike Zimmer. And again, you have, even though Jerry said that Mike McCarthy being on a 1-year deal will have no impact. It has an impact. I mean, there's no question it has an impact on who you're gonna get, and to think that somebody's gonna come here for 1 year and yes, you're the Cowboys. If you do a good job, you get the head coaching job. That's not how it works. How many former Cowboys became head coaches since whenever, other than Dan Quinn, who was already head coach? I mean,
none of them.
I mean, name me the list. Litany of Cowboys coaches who were assistants in Dallas who got immediate jobs as head coach. There's not a huge list.
The Parcells tree from his time in Dallas.
I said immediately from the Cowboys.
I know, and I'm making sure there's a distinguishing line there.
Yeah, I mean, there were some guys who got jobs, but not immediately.
Todd Bowles, Anthony Lynn, the list goes on because they were tied to
But
Bill.
It wasn't because they were with the Cowboys when they got.
No, it's because they were with Bill. The end.
Right, but what I'm saying is they didn't get jobs immediately from promotions from being a Cowboys assistant, even under Bill. They still had to go other places. And get jobs. The only person that got a job immediately was Sean Payton.
I thought it was
Tony else got a job because of his time with the Cowboys.
No, all those guys, Clarence, all those guys got jobs not because of the star. They got it because of Bill, and Bill had weight around the league.
Again, even if they got it because of Bill, my point is it wasn't immediate.
No, like the only ones that I can think of who left the Cowboys, we always forget.
Only Sean Payton.
God, hang on, we forget about Tony Sperano. Okay, Clarence, bottom line, is Mike Zimmer going to be the Cowboys defensive coordinator?
I think he's the leader in the clubhouse. If I had to bet, I would say it's Mike Zimmer. Yes.
Okay, it's Super Bowl week. It's in Vegas, which promises there will be some disaster story coming from this week in Vegas, guaranteed. Either Friday, most likely Saturday night, but Friday or Saturday night. But we have another Super Bowl week without the Dallas Cowboys. Clarence, you numb to this? I am.
I mean, this is what I'm used to. The difference is I'm used to going anyway, but the nature's business. I don't get to go anymore. But since 1996, since I started here, the Cowboys have not gone to the Super Bowl, and that's kind of what we've lived in. And now it's going on 29 years since the Cowboys last made it to the Super Bowl. And incredible. Yeah, it's like everybody said, well, you could just write your story, just rewrite the same story you've been writing every year. Cowboys not getting to the Super Bowl, and it's always a different drama. It's not the same story; it's the same ending. We know what the ending is going to be, what the ending has been, and it's always,
the beginning is different, the middle's different, the end always has the same.
Yeah, it's always somebody else living out their Super Bowl dreams, and Cowboys and Cowboy fans are left home on the couch. That's why they call them the Couch Boys.
The Couch
The
Boys.
Couch Boys.
All right, we've got more to talk about the Couch Boys and specifically how they won the 2023 season in a different way. But first, a word from our good friends at Window Nation.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, can help you fill the house this season with savings. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and make no interest payments for 60 months, 5 full years. Fill your house for a customized authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey while supplies last. You could even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Visit windownation.com/Cowboys now for details. Call 866-95-NATION. Window Nation, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Thank you very much, Window Nation. Back here. Clarence, put down your phone. Good
Hey, man,
God,
I got to see this breaking news. I mean, I'm at breaking news.
No, you're not. You're scrolling on crap.
I'm breaking news reporter, sir.
Okay, break it right here on Cowboys Overtime, sponsored by Window Nation. The floor is yours.
I'm trying to see. I gotta see. I gotta make sure I gotta answer my texts and my calls in case someone, Mike Zimmer could be calling us. I got the job.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm sitting here, so I'm using my phone for this particular shot, and the text messages are coming in from my daughter, and she wants to know the security code to my credit card. Needless to say, that's going to be a phone call before I respond to her. So, anyway,
listen. That. Somehow, my daughter in DC, I gave her my card to buy groceries for Christmas. Or something.
That's like that. Okay.
And so now I've seen charges on my card, like
to where?
I mean, whatever, Instacart, whatever. I'm like, you got to let me know. You just can't things because you have my card number. Let me know, okay?
That's when you cut up the credit.
I cover the Cowboys. I don't make money like the Cowboys. I don't.
It's a totally different beast.
I need to know what's in my account,
or specifically what's going out the door from.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you don't even know. I mean, I got bills too.
Just give me the heads up.
Let me know.
All right. Well, we're going to let you know how the Dallas Cowboys actually won the 2023 championship. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win the NFL Honors title. Okay, Clarence, Saturday night, I think, is it Saturday night or the week after?
It's Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, they moved it around. Thank you. So the NFL's regular season awards will be announced on Thursday night in Vegas. A few Cowboys have been nominated for a few of the awards. I'm going to go over the categories and the nominees, kind of like the Grammys, for the awards that the Cowboys have been nominated. So there's NFL regular season MVP. Nominees are Dak Prescott, Bills quarterback Josh Allen, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey, and your quarterback, 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. God, isn't that amazing? Okay. Dak Prescott is not going to win this award.
No, Lamar Jackson going to win the award, but Dak will probably finish top 2, top 3.
I was going to say, if you had to rank him, where should he be?
Number 1.
That's good. That's some solid butt kissing. Okay, who's going to win?
Lamar Jackson's going to win for sure, and I think
Lamar won.
I think it's going to be the Dak or Allen 2, because I think the other 2 guys are going to split votes.
Okay, Purdy's going to finish 5th. This is how it's going to go down. Lamar's going to win. McCaffrey's going to be 2. Dak 3. Josh Allen 4. Brock Purdy 5. Am I wrong?
No, I think Dak or Josh are going to be 2, 3. I think McCaffrey and Allen are going to split votes.
Okay, so this is the one that I love. This one. So when the Cowboys played the playoff game, the defense that had all these statistics and its coordinator, who's now the head coach of the Washington Commanders, put up the biggest no-show in the history of organized sports. Gave up 78 points to the Packers in the first 12 minutes of the game. And now they have 2 candidates from that defense who are nominated for the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. Cornerback Deron Bland, who led the NFL with 38 interceptions. Raiders defensive end Max Crosby. Browns defensive end, pride of Texas A&M, Myles Garrett. Micah Parsons, Dallas Cowboys linebacker, defensive end. And Pittsburgh Steelers defensive end, linebacker, TJ Watt. Clarence, I think Myles Garrett should win it.
Yeah, Myles Garrett should win, but talk to me about the playoff game they had. And that's the problem with these awards. We remember the playoff games and whatever else.
But you know what?
Lamar Jackson, but that defense did not do anything. The Cleveland Browns defense did not do anything against Houston. Lamar,
listen, it's an 18-week, 17-game regular season.
Yeah,
and one of the things that I really get irritated as sports in this country continue to evolve is that the large chunk of the games are basically tossed out and rendered meaningless because we put all of our emphasis on this tournament, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is. And that's the way it is, and that's fine. But the bottom line is 17 weeks, 17 regular season games. To me, the winner should be Myles Garrett. Max Crosby was pretty good. He's not going to win because the Raiders stunk, but Max Crosby was a beast.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Myles Garrett's going to win too, and I think that Micah Parsons, runner-up in each of the past 2 years. First 2 years, runner-up. He will probably finish top 3 again, if not top 2 again. And I was Deron Bland had a great year when it comes to interception returns for touchdowns, but I don't know if he was the top 5 best defender on the Cowboys defense at the end of the season.
No, but he made plays, and he
had a historic year that can't be ignored.
Yep, I mean he deserved to be nominated. He doesn't deserve to win, but he deserves to be nominated. You bring up Micah Parsons. I mean, Clarence, some of this stuff about stats, and I get it and all that other stuff. What would you say Micah needs? What needs to happen? Because to me, Micah Parsons has been as good as any defender in football since he walked through the door. We're talking Lawrence Taylor stuff.
He needs to put up numbers, and it's crazy because as great as Micah's been, his sack totals are good, very good,
very good,
but they're not historic. And if Micah Parsons had 17, 18 sacks like some of the other guys, he'd be a walkaway winner. Because he has 14 sacks.
So if
he had 18 sacks, there would be not even a question that Michael Parsons would be.
You answered my question.
He would win.
What's the magic
number? He had 20
20
sacks, he would win it.
I was going to say 20, but you think if he got 17 and a half or 18, he wins?
I think if he had 17 and a half, 18, he would win. No doubt. He is the number one most double team pass rusher. He has more quarterback hits. He has more quarterback pressures. He has his quote unquote win rate is number one. He just doesn't all those hold calls. He had 14 sacks, which is nothing to sneeze at all.
No, it's a big number.
But TJ Watt and some of those guys have those. If he has 2-3 more sacks, we're not. It's a walkaway Micah Parsons. There's no question about that.
Okay, so I agree with you about that. So now there's one other award where 2 Cowboys are nominated, and that is the Offensive Player of the Year. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, who apparently, I went back and I watched the playoff game. He did play the playoff game. I didn't know that. I had to watch it again to see if he actually played.
Look at the second
half. Dude, no, we're not doing that.
I'm just saying you have to
I don't care. We're not doing that.
Okay, go ahead.
Christian McCaffrey, 49ers running back. Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, and the happily married Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Clarence, who's going to win?
That's a tough one because midway through the season, 3/4 way through the season, Tyreek Hill had that award sold up.
Done. Okay. Great.
But
then his numbers didn't maintain.
Then he got hurt.
Calvin Johnson pace.
Then he got hurt, and it's the best receiver numbers were put up by one CeeDee Lamb.
He's not going to win it.
I think this is. I think Christian McCaffrey may win this one.
So do I. I think they're going to split. They never the same guy does. They want to share, which is fine. So Lamar is going to be MVP, and then the Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
I think that's. You think? Where do you think CD will finish? Fourth?
Probably third or fourth.
Third or fourth.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to another category, which is yes, sir.
Okay, that's okay. Which we're done with awards though.
Well, those are the ones. Those are the Clarence. I may have misread it. Are there any other awards where Cowboys players are nominated?
Yes.
What am I missing?
DeMarcus Lawrence and Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
Thank you. Okay, I was looking at NFL.com. They didn't have it on there. Thank you very much.
DeMarcus Lawrence, Walter Payton, and Darren Woodson is up for
Hall of Fame. I actually wrote that down. I was going to bring that up here in a second. You're right. They will announce the Hall of Fame inductions on what, Saturday night? Is that
no? That's going to be Thursday as well. Everything's
Thursday. Okay, Thursday. You and I are both Darren Woodson guys. Everybody's ever met Darren Woodson as a Darren Woodson guy. You think Woody's going to get in?
I hope so. I don't know. This I don't want to trash the voters, but I just think that he should be. He should have been in. He should have been in before John Lynch. There are a number of guys who were in at safety who weren't as good as Darren Woodson. The problem is Darren Woodson doesn't have the Q ratings some other guys. He's not flamboyant, and he didn't have a lot of interceptions because he was so versatile. He was down there covering Jerry Rice in the slot, which to me should be a boon in your cap, a feather in your cap, and people hold it again. Well, he don't have the interception number. Well, he was down there covering Jerry Rice in the slot. That's not good.
It wasn't just that; he was playing at the line a lot.
Exactly, covering the slot. I'm saying, on passing down.
He covered the slot too. When I think about Darren Woodson too, is that he did things at the point of attack. I'm talking about against the run.
Well, that too. But I'm just talking about from the pass numbers. Safeties get in because of the interceptions and all that other stuff. And like I said, he was playing close to the line of scrimmage, but he was also so athletic. He could cover the slot. He was covering guys like Jerry Rice in the slot, which is unheard of. Which some of these guys couldn't. They wouldn't even think about putting him on there.
No, they even tried it.
He's not back in the middle of the field, just waiting for balls to be picked off and headhunting guys. So
a number of years ago, Clarence, Rick Goslin, I call him Richard. Rick Goslin, long time NFL reporter, worked for the Dallas Morning News for a million years, and he's still a Hall of Fame voter. He's a wonderful guy, and he is as much of a student of football as anybody could be, to the point where Bill Belichick, basically applauded his work before the draft when they took Julian Edelman. He applauded Rick's work. And Rick and I are talking one time about certain players, and I think safety, it might have been Woody came up. And he says, I want you to look at this. And he shows me his computer screen of candidates and guys who are kind of knocking on the door, and no position is any harder to get into the Hall of Fame than safety. And I asked him, I asked Belichick this one time, why? I asked Rick this. He says, it's one of those positions that's really, really hard to get in because for the reasons that you just mentioned, you just don't get the numbers. And you're getting a little bit more numbers now, this generation, because you're passing more now. So they're getting some, some exceptions.
I guess.
But hang on. I want to say
he's got to contemporary it in.
If John Lynch gets in, John was a great player. The thing that kind of drives me crazy, John Lynch really was a good player, but listen, let me say it. One reason John got in is that he's the white guy. Looks like he's trying hard on every single snap, and he was. He's a great player. But if John gets in, then Darren Woodson sure as hell should get in too. And I know you can go down that rabbit hole. If this guy gets in, well, that guy should get in. And I'm biased because I like Darren a lot. He's a great guy. He's a good pro. He's a wonderful guy. But I'm a homer for Darren. And once you put in John Lynch, it's kind of like certain guys in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Once you put that guy in, you better be putting that guy in too. To me, John Lynch should open the door for Darren Woodson.
Should have a long time ago. John Lynch can't hold Darren Woodson's jockstrap, but let's move on.
Okay, Clarence, on Sunday, the biggest cartel in the history of sport, otherwise known as FIFA, announced its schedule and sites for the 2026 World Cup to be played in Canada, Mexico, and all over these United States, including Arlington. And in the year and days leading up to this announcement, all of the reports insisted that AT&T Stadium, now known as Dallas Stadium, would the finals would be played at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. So they made the announcement that actually the final would be played in New Jersey, not New York, New Jersey. There was air out of the room. You could feel it. The press conference was at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. The big press conference was at a production studio. It wasn't a press conference. It was a televised event to announce the unveiling in Miami. But they had a local press conference here, local leadership. as well as sports dignitaries, including Dirk Nowitzki, Marty Turco, Emmett Smith. They all joined it. And all of us in that room believed that AT&T Stadium was going to get the final. It didn't. I have some theories why. Now, AT&T Stadium did get 9 matches, which is the most of any destination in the World Cup. That's a huge get. 9 matches, including a semifinal. Do you feel, though, that FIFA snubbed Jerry Jones?
I'm still trying to figure out why they were in Miami for the press conference. I don't get that.
Either.
But
they could have done it on the moon. But you're right. Why was Kevin Hart doing? And why did they pick Kevin Hart and not Cat Williams? If you saw what
you know why? You know why? Because Kevin Hart's a plant. Kevin Hart's the industry plant. I mean, Kevin Hart's the industry plant. Okay, Cat Williams said he's the industry plant. They want to make him a superstar. let me sip my Portier cognac. So anyway,
that's good. So why do you think this is my thought? I'm going to talk about this for a second. The fact that AT&T Stadium was even Arlington, DFW was even considered and down the road on being considered for a final is a massive win. The fact that we got 9 matches is a huge win. In fact, you can make an argument that there's a bigger win than New York getting the final because we get 9 as opposed to 4 or 5. That's basically 9 events that'll be sold out at 92,000 plus. So to me, this was not really a loss. I know it's a loss because everybody thought we were going to get it. But the fact that we were down the road this far against Miami, Los Angeles, and New York City, because it's not New Jersey, it's New York City. The fact that we were down the road
New
this
Jersey.
Far, it's not New Jersey, it's New York.
That's the problem. You lost to Jersey.
It's not New Jersey.
You lost the stadium in Jersey. It'd be one thing to lose to SoCal. It'd be one thing to lose to SoFi Stadium in LA. You lost to Jersey. You lost to Jersey. No one wants to go to Jersey.
He's not wrong. You lost to New York. You lost to Broadway. You lost to Park Avenue, Wall Street, all that crap.
Nobody
you
wants
lost
to go to
New
Jersey.
York. To me, this was a win. And Jerry kind of sounded that way. You've lived here longer than I have. Is this a win or a loss?
Let's go split the baby. It's a win and a loss. I mean, it's a win. It's great that the Cowboys got 9 or AT&T Stadium got 9. We're going to call it Dallas Stadium because the World Cup. I mean, we got to talk to the Arlington people because I know they're not happy with this old Dallas Stadium thing.
Well, neither is AT&T. So
yeah, AT&T. Yeah, that's more Jerry's issue. But it's the Arlington people. It's Dallas. It's not in Dallas. It's in Arlington. It's in Tarrant County, people. There will be a lot of money spent in Tarrant County. But yeah, there was so many reports about them getting the final, and Jerry hasn't gotten a Super Bowl, and this was going to be his Super Bowl, so to speak, to get through the World Cup final. It's a setback, but you know the consolation prize is getting 9, and it's going to be a huge boon for the local economy. Hopefully, I won't be working. Will we have to work there 20? Well, we will be around. Anyway,
I was having this discussion the other day. I'm like, I don't know if I'm here. I was like, well, I must be so excited. I'm like, duh. I'm happy if I make it to Saturday, so I'm not looking at 2026.
Anyway, 2026. I'm like,
there's a long
what am I
time
doing July of 2026? Trying to get to AT&T Stadium.
Okay, so we agree it's a win and a loss. You and I are both very positive people, me more than you. This is a big win for Arlington. Arlington, not Dallas. Okay, we've got a big game. We have the last football game of the season on Sunday. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas. Nice cover art there, Candy. Clarence, who's your winner? 49ers or Taylor Swift's Kansas City Chiefs?
Taylor Swift's boyfriend and Patrick Mahomes, the homeboy from Texas. My homeboy.
Have you seen the line of the game? Have you seen the line? Have you seen the line on this game?
I mean, the 49ers are favored. There's no question about that.
Why?
They've been favored in every game all season.
Kansas City, every time you bet against Kansas City, I ain't going to Buffalo. They were better than Buffalo. They went to Baltimore. They were better than Buffalo. They were better before they even got off the bus against Baltimore. They were better. And until somebody tells me otherwise, they're better. And Brock Purdy is not going to get away with that horse junk throw that he did against Detroit. And Andy Reid is not going to go brain dead let's go for fourth down, even though it's fifth down. He's not going to do the same things that Dan Campbell did. Until somebody shows me different, Kansas City's going to beat him.
Yeah, I'm with Kansas City and with my homeboy and with the Texas guy, becoming the GOAT, the journey to GOATdom. GOATdom.
Not the truth. Kid out of White House, Texas, nobody wanted. How about that?
He said he had one Division I offer, and that was to Texas Tech. That's
right, and TCU wouldn't offer him. He wanted to go there, and TCU was like, nah, we're good. We got Trayvon Boykin. Good player, not quite Patrick Mahomes. Okay, Clarence, have a great weekend, great week. Everybody else have a great week. Be safe. We've talked entirely too long. Once again, that's Clarence's fault. Thanks, our good friend, producer Candy Bolton, for all your Cowboys football and everything else coverage needs. And World Cup 2026 when it's played at Arlington Stadium.
Dallas Stadium.
Arlington Stadium. Check us here on StarTelegram.com. See you next week.